What happens when rude interviewers try to prove they are smart in front of Black celebrities? Well, first, Black celebrities ignore them, trying to be calm and giving them a second chance. However, when the disrespectful interviewers take this courtesy as a weakness, Black celebrities know how to grill and shut down the interviewers. In their signature calm style, they make the interviewers deeply embarrassed, making them hide their faces and find a corner where they can vanish. So, what are the moments when Black celebrities have had enough and put disrespectful interviewers in the true place? In this video, let's find out. Number 12. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj has always been vocal about her experiences and unapologetic in her stance on critical issues. During one interview, the topic of mental health and suicide came up casually and dismissively. The interviewer made light of a deeply sensitive subject, a move that triggered a strong response from Minaj. She firmly shut down the line of questioning, emphasizing that mental health struggles, particularly in the entertainment industry, are not a joke. Nicki pointed out the majority of silent suffering among celebrities, many of whom deal with huge pressure, public scrutiny, and personal struggles. She highlighted that some entertainers, unable to cope with their mental health challenges, tragically take their own lives. The sensitivity should be understood, instead of making fun of them and the issue. Nicki's frustration grew as it became evident that the interviewer failed to know the seriousness of the issue. In an emotional moment, Minaj shared her vulnerability, admitting that she had personally questioned whether she wanted to keep going during particularly tough times. This raw admission showcased her humanity and reinforced her message that the entertainment industry's glamorous exterior often masks the darker realities of mental health struggles. Number 11. Kelly Rowland. Kelly Rowland, an accomplished artist in her own right, has long dealt with interviewers who fixate on her connection to Beyoncé, often overshadowing her own successes. While Kelly has always spoken highly of her former Destiny's Child bandmate and friend, the constant comparisons and questions about Beyoncé during her interviews have been a persistent source of frustration. It makes her irrelevant and only someone who is known just because she looks similar to someone else. In multiple instances, Kelly has skillfully attempted to redirect the conversation toward her own projects, such as her solo music career, acting roles, and philanthropic efforts. However, interviewers often ignore these accomplishments, choosing instead to focus on Beyoncé. In one memorable interview, Kelly was discussing her latest album when the interviewer abruptly shifted the topic to Beyoncé's venture into country music. Despite Kelly's best efforts to steer the conversation back to her own work, the interviewer doubled down, leaving her visibly irritated. After several attempts to assert her boundaries, Kelly ultimately decided to walk out. This moment highlighted her refusal to let anyone diminish her individual identity or achievements. Kelly's handling of these repeated instances of disrespect has sparked important conversations about how Black women in the entertainment industry are often unfairly compared to one another or made to play second fiddle, despite their own substantial contributions. Number 10. Kodak Black on Hot 97. Kodak Black's interview on Hot 97 with Ebro Darden is a textbook example of a situation where an artist felt cornered by the line of questioning. While the interview began with lighter topics, it took a sharp turn when Darden brought up Kodak's legal issues, including allegations of sexual misconduct. Darden framed his question as an attempt to address serious topics, but the tone and timing made Kodak visibly uncomfortable. Kodak immediately requested to move on to a different subject, emphasizing his reluctance to discuss his legal troubles publicly. However, Darden persisted, expressing that such issues needed to be addressed, which escalated the tension in the room. Feeling pressured and cornered, Kodak made it clear he wouldn't continue under those circumstances, eventually threatening to leave the interview and following through on that promise. This incident highlighted the delicate balance between journalism and respect for an interviewee's boundaries. While Darden defended his approach as an attempt to be authentic and transparent, Kodak's leaving the interview showed his frustration with what he perceived as an ambush. Number 9. Wiz Khalifa in Denmark. During an interview in Denmark, Wiz Khalifa began the conversation in high spirits, ready to discuss his album and music career. However, the dynamic shifted when the interviewer mistakenly referred to 50 Cent's hit song, In Da Club, as if it were Wiz Khalifa's work. The blatant error not only displayed a lack of preparation, but also reflected a broader issue of cultural insensitivity, where Black artists are often confused with one another due to stereotypes. Wiz, understandably frustrated, called out the interviewer's unprofessionalism, pointing out the glaring mistake. He then called off the interview. His response wasn't just about the factual inaccuracy, but about the lack of respect such errors signify. For an artist of Wiz Khalifa's caliber, being confused with another rapper, especially in such a dismissive and careless manner, can feel like a denial of their individuality and achievements. Number 8. 50 Cent, refusing to entertain rumors. 50 Cent is known for his no-nonsense persona, and he demonstrated this once again during a promotional interview for his TV series For Life. The interview took a turn when the host began pressing him about rumors of a fight with French Montana. While 50 Cent initially dismissed the question, making it clear he wasn't interested in discussing baseless gossip, the interviewer persisted. The situation escalated when the interviewer suggested that 50 Cent might have physically assaulted French Montana in a club, implying that he was prone to violent behavior. This insinuation crossed a line for 50 Cent, who questioned why the interviewer would assume he would act in such a way. His response highlighted his frustration with being reduced to a stereotype, a common issue faced by Black men in the public eye. 50 Cent's patience wore thin, and instead of continuing to entertain the disrespect, he removed his microphone and walked out. But this was in fact a kind rejection, instead of disrespecting the interviewer, showing that 50 Cent knows how to be a gentleman. This decisive move made it clear that he would not tolerate being portrayed unfairly or being baited into discussing rumors. Number 7. LeBron James. During the 2018 NBA Finals, LeBron James found himself in a tense post-game press conference after the Cleveland Cavaliers suffered a heartbreaking Game 1 loss to the Golden State Warriors. Much of the media focus centered on J.R. Smith's now infamous blunder, where Smith appeared unaware of the score and ran out the clock instead of attempting a potential game-winning play. As reporters repeatedly probed LeBron for his thoughts on the mistake, the questioning quickly grew repetitive. LeBron, visibly frustrated, initially answered thoughtfully, emphasizing that the team as a whole was focused on bouncing back. However, the persistent focus on the same topic eventually wore thin. Finally, after fielding one too many variations of the same question, LeBron ended the discussion with a simple but pointed statement: "Be better tomorrow." He then put on his sunglasses, grabbed his designer bag, and exited the room. The room full of cameramen and interviewers were surprised, but they knew who was to blame. They themselves had made the interview limited to the failure, which could not be changed by going back in the past. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black Africa. Let's continue now. Number 6. Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather's encounter with ESPN's Brian Kenny is a prime example of a celebrity refusing to let an interviewer dictate the narrative. Kenny began the interview by referring to Mayweather as a former #1 pound-for-pound fighter, a comment that immediately irritated the undefeated boxing legend. To Mayweather, this wasn't just a slip of the tongue, but a misrepresentation of his undefeated career and his position as a dominant figure in boxing. Mayweather's response was swift and assertive. He challenged Kenny's choice of words, pointing out that no one had beaten him, and therefore, the title of former was inaccurate and disrespectful. This exchange was not just about clarifying a fact. It was about reinforcing the legacy Mayweather had meticulously built as one of the greatest boxers of all time. As Kenny pressed further, asking about Mayweather's next fight, the boxer seized control of the conversation. "You're not a promoter. You're here to interview me," Mayweather stated firmly, reminding Kenny of his role and drawing a clear line between respectful journalism and unwarranted interference. His fiery response, "Your job doesn't pay like my job," was both a flex of his unparalleled financial success in the sport and a subtle assertion of his dominance in and out of the ring. Number 5. Shericka Jackson. Fresh off her gold medal win in the women's 200-meter final at the 2022 World Athletics Championships, Jamaican sprinter Shericka Jackson faced a question that was aimed at undermining the legacy of an iconic athlete. The interviewer brought up Florence Griffith Joyner's long-standing world record, implying that records set in the 1980s and 1990s might be tainted or untrustworthy, a subtle hint at historical suspicions surrounding doping in that era. Jackson's response was a masterclass in shutting down negativity with grace and conviction. "What kind of question is that supposed to be? The world record is the world record," she replied, her tone making it clear that she would not entertain any insinuations that detracted from her own or others' achievements. By addressing the question directly and decisively, she defended FloJo's legacy while affirming the sanctity of athletic records. Her refusal to engage further and her decision to walk away highlighted her focus on positivity and respect for the sport. The interviewer wanted her to say something that could undermine FloJo's legacy, which could be then quoted as a black female athlete rejecting to accept a veteran's dominance. Number 4. Giannis Antetokounmpo. After the Milwaukee Bucks were eliminated from the NBA playoffs by the Miami Heat, Giannis Antetokounmpo faced a familiar and loaded question. Do you view this season as a failure? This was the second year in a row he had been asked the same question, despite his consistent efforts as a player and leader. Rather than reacting with anger, Giannis took a moment to reflect, before delivering a philosophical and deeply human response. He countered the question with one of his own. Do you get a promotion every year at your job? So, is every year you work a failure? This powerful analogy reframed the discussion, emphasizing that progress is not linear and that setbacks are an integral part of growth. Giannis continued with an impassioned explanation of success and failure, rejecting the binary notion of one opposing the other. Failure is a step toward success, he explained, highlighting that every experience, whether a championship win or a playoff loss, contributes to personal and professional development. Number 3. Michael Strahan. Michael Strahan, a Super Bowl champion and NFL Hall of Famer, has always been known for his charisma, both on and off the field. During a particularly contentious interview, Strahan was asked about alleged tensions with his teammate, Plaxico Burress. The reporter's question wasn't a neutral inquiry. Rather, it was framed in a way that suggested Strahan had negative feelings about Burress, implying internal team conflict. This kind of framing is a classic media tactic to generate headlines by creating or exacerbating drama. Strahan immediately recognized the trap and shut it down with a commanding response. He told the reporter, "Look me in the eye," before insisting they rephrase the question appropriately. This bold statement wasn't just about holding the journalist accountable. It was also a way to reassert control over the narrative. By demanding directness and respect, Strahan made it clear that he wouldn't allow the interview to engage in speculation or false narratives. Furthermore, Strahan's tone showed his loyalty to his teammates. Instead of taking the bait and offering a quote that could be twisted into a divisive story, he maintained a united front, refusing to throw Burress or anyone else under the bus. Number 2. Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt is never seen confronting interviewers, but when he does, it means something is really wrong. Celebrated as the fastest man in history, he has always been a champion of fairness and excellence in athletics. During a post-race interview, Bolt heard a question that subtly attacked not just his competitor, Justin Gatlin, but the entire sport of track and field. After Gatlin's victory, in a race where his time was slower than his previous records, a journalist implied that stricter anti-doping regulations could be responsible for the decline in performance. The question carried an undercurrent of suspicion, indirectly questioning whether Gatlin or the sport was still legitimate. Bolt's response was immediate and unequivocal. "That's disrespectful," he said, his tone serious and cutting. By addressing the journalist directly, Bolt not only defended Gatlin, but also took a stand for the integrity of the sport itself. In a world where doping scandals have tarnished athletics, the question struck at the heart of what Bolt has always represented: clean, fair competition achieved through hard work and talent. Number 1. Lil Wayne on his daughter. Lil Wayne's interview took an unexpected turn when the topic shifted to his controversial lyrics. The interviewer questioned how Wayne felt about the possibility of his daughter being subjected to derogatory terms similar to those he uses in his music. This was deeply disrespectful, given that one's family should not be involved in questions related to career and what one does in the career. Particularly in the music industry, questions can never be asked about what if the lyrics are applied to family members of the singers. This is totally offensive and forbidden, mostly a personal attack to get an angry response that can be used to create controversy. For Lil Wayne, this line of questioning struck a nerve. Wayne became visibly agitated, firmly stating that his lyrics had no bearing on his daughter's experiences or upbringing. He expressed frustration at the insinuation that his music might reflect negatively on his parenting. The question felt less like a genuine inquiry and more like a veiled judgment, prompting Wayne to end the interview abruptly. This moment highlighted a recurring challenge for artists: the expectation to reconcile their public personas with their private lives, often in reductive or accusatory ways. Wayne's response not only defended his daughter's dignity, but also pushed back against the notion that his artistry should be scrutinized in the context of his family. Which of these moments did you like the most? Isn't it true that often interviewers intentionally try being disrespectful to trigger Black celebrities, but are instantly made to regret it? In the comment section right below, share your thoughts on whether Black celebrities should always avoid confronting interviewers or deal with them. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring videos on Black Africa, its history, rich arts and culture, and things the world should know about. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.